Welcome everybody, and I'm today joined by a very special guest, the winner of the biggest Disney Lorcana tournament we've had in a long time. I'm with Joel. How are you doing, mate? And congratulations on your win.
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. Yes, it was a wild ride, and I'm happy to talk to you and your audience about what happened.
Absolutely, and I know that you're going to be an immediate fan favorite. When I was watching it, as soon as I saw your deck list, I was rooting for you. Because it is a very, very awesome deck that you were able to take it down with and definitely surprised a lot of people. And I have a strong feeling that this is a deck that people are going to be seeing at their local game stores now for set championships. So I'd love to ask you a little bit about this deck. And interestingly, Card Market, who sponsor this video, I've seen that Tramp and Lady are two of the top selling cards this week already on Card Market.
Yeah, I anticipated that. Yeah, people were telling me my Tramp sold, my Lady sold. So yeah,
absolutely.
You're gonna see a lot more of Chernadogs probably in the next few weeks.
Yeah. So what was it that inspired you to play this deck? Because I know that it was, a lot of people were interested in it right when the set came out, but it's definitely one that was going under the radar recently. But clearly you've shown the power level. Like some of the plays you pulled off were absolutely unbelievable, to be honest with you. So what was it that made you decide that this deck was good enough for the tournament in Ravensburg?
That's the funny thing. The broadcast was in German, so you probably didn't even know about that, but I wasn't even going to play in the tournament. I didn't have a ticket.
Mm-hmm.
So I just went there with my roommate. He was playing in the tournament, and I wanted to play side events and just cheer for him and stuff. And then when we did the pre-check-in, the lady, a very nice lady, an angel, I would say, behind me, heard that I didn't have a ticket. And she said her sister doesn't come and I can have that ticket.
Wow.
So yeah, I didn't really prepare this deck to be played in the tournament. So I just brought this deck because I like it, because I think it's fun. It's the deck I played the most. But to be honest, if I knew I was going to play in the tournament, I'm not sure I would have picked this deck.
Wow, what an amazing story. So
yeah, it was crazy, yeah.
A huge shout out to that lovely lady. What an awesome reflection of the Disney Lorcana community then. So Amber and Emerald Chernadog, as it's known affectionately. What was it about this deck that you liked?
First of all, I always was an aggro player. I like playing aggro. The decks were, when I started, decks were cheaper, so it was easier to get a functioning deck together. And then I'm a huge fan of dogs.
Okay,
general.
let's go.
And the deck is just super fun. It's not a normal aggro deck, in my opinion. You have many tools to go into the mid or even late game with the Chernabog, with the Cri-Kees. It plays super differently, and it's just very fun to navigate.
Yeah, we're going to watch back the final with you shortly, and like I say, some of the plays you pulled off were pretty incredible, really showing the power of the Tramp and the Chernabog combo. What I would love to ask you then is, since you sort of came into this tournament without a lot of preparation, what I find a lot of the time is after you play in a big tournament, you play against so many top players, you beat people like Kendall, also known as No I'm Not, you beat DKP. You've probably got, after this tournament, a lot of thoughts and feelings about which cards really held their weight. And even though you won the tournament, there's oftentimes you might think that there's maybe some cards which didn't perform up to quite the same standards that you would expect. And maybe there's some cards you played 3 copies of that you would like to play 4 copies of moving forward. So I'd be really interested in just hearing your thoughts on how all the cards performed and if there's anything you would change, or if you think you had like the perfect 60 for this event.
It was definitely not the perfect 60. There are a few cards I would change, I would cut as well. First of all, Piglet is just not a great card at the moment with all the Steel Song decks around. Piglet just doesn't do anything. I always inked it.
Yep.
It had a few games where it quested for free and it was fine, then it died. But then I like Lilo a little bit more. It's good into B prep. I can develop more bodies. It's a little bit kind of like card draw in the late game. Yeah, I would definitely cut the Piglets.
There's a lot of
Maybe
synergy with the Lilo there as well with the Tramp, right?
Yes, you can just discard it and get it out. It performed not that great as well, Lilo, but into red decks, it's great. Into Be Prepared decks, it's good.
Yeah, well, interestingly, in my Amber Amethyst deck, I've been sort of like, do I play Piglet or Lilo? And the lack of discard synergy in that deck made me gravitate towards Piglet. But I can definitely see with the Tramp, the Lilo just becomes like, you're discarding so many cards anyway, that the Lilo becomes like the perfect target for that discard off Tramp.
Exactly, yeah. And then 2 more Tomagos, I feel like are super important. There were so many games I was like, oh, if I top deck Tomago now, it would be so good. And 2 is just too little. I would definitely play 4 Tomagos. That's for sure. Then when I came into the tournament, I wasn't sure about 3 Chernabogs because it can be super clunky, but they were so good. They were so clutch. I think 3 is like perfect amount. Of course, there are times you have maybe 1 or even 2. It didn't happen that I have 2 in my hand. And then you have 4 Yzmas and you can just discard them again.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 3 Chernabogs was super clutch.
Yeah, one of the interesting like things when I was first building this deck is like the balance between ladies and Chernabogs. And you do I ended up in some spots where like 2 Chernabogs in hand felt so crippling. But when you see the power level of it, like you're often able to play Chernabog for 0 or 1 ink or something like that. And that is making such a huge difference against decks like Amber Steel. That was like one thing I was really impressed by, the fact that you were able to take down so many Amber Steel song decks.
I think on the draw against Amber Steel song, you have to high roll. Like I high rolled a ton, and I was super lucky in a few instances. Yeah, if you have double Tramp into Chernabog, the game is just won. Like no deck can beat that, I think. I mean, Be Prepared, yeah, but it's so early in the game still. It was like on turn 3 or 4. Like no deck can beat that. It's just so much stats on the board, so much questing power.
It's interesting. I mean, aggro decks tend to struggle going second, right? So the fact that this one has that high roll potential, do you think that was like a key to your success?
So it was super important because I played on the draw every game in the top 64 except 1. I played on the draw.
Wow.
That this deck can win that many games on the draw, it's like almost impossible.
Yeah, that is.
You have to high roll quite a bit to be able to do that. Yeah.
But the deck is built in a way which it can high roll, right? So it's not like you're getting super lucky. Like that's what the deck is good at doing. It can win when going first because it's an aggro deck, but it has that high roll potential to get those tricky wins going second.
Yes. And without these high roll moments, I think the Steel Song matchup would be unwinnable on the draw.
But I can see like the Little John and the Nala are in there. Are those like aimed at dealing with Steel Song in particular?
Yeah, they're just sticking. I'm not questing early most of the time against many decks because I just want as many characters on the board as possible. So I can play Tramp for cheaper and cycle more cards. And they are so great as Zero Force, they don't die to any early game removal. And they can hit in 3 attack targets, and then I can Rapunzel and draw 3 cards. It happened quite a lot as well.
Yeah, that 4 willpower really, really crucial for Rapunzel. And of course, the Cri-Kee as well. The synergy there with Cri-Kee is fantastic.
Yes, as well, yeah.
Amazing. So you can see you've also got 3 copies of Donald and 3 copies of Kit. I personally appreciated in the final how you used, might have been the semi-final, but you used Donald Duck specifically on Daisy to get the extra lore. I thought that was a nice moment to show the synergy with obviously Donald Duck, Daisy's date. You had all kinds of characters you could pick, but you picked Daisy to get that extra lore. How did Donald Duck perform for you overall, and also Kit Cloudkicker?
These were 2 cards. I wasn't sure how many I want to play as well. On Friday, I changed it up a bit. I think I had 4 of both, but they were both super great. Donald won me like 2 games where I would have lost, I think, just to get over the edge with the lore. And Kit is just an extremely good tempo play. If it hits something, it can hit troubadours, which is pretty good.
Yep.
You can hit the queen, the 2-drop queen, 1/4, which is also pretty nice. And then you have such a big tempo advantage. Yeah, it performed very good. And it can hit Diablo as well, which is great as well. I don't have any removal for Diablo, so
awesome. So
maybe I would even play 4 and 4
Mm-hmm.
and cut the princess. I'm not sure at the moment.
Yeah, interesting. And then Cri-Kee, definitely a really, really impactful card in this deck as well. Did you feel like 3 was the right amount, or do you think you could be convinced to play a 4th?
No, I think 3 was right. It's not every game I get to 5
Mm-hmm.
ink anyway. There are a few games I'm at 3 or 4 ink. So I think 3 is fine, and I can ink him if I don't go up there, but he can be super clutch. Sometimes I even keep him in my hand for a few turns when I see I have a big board, and if the opponent quests or I bait a little bit with questing, then I can retaliate with Cri-Kee, and it's game winning as well. Then
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
3 is a good spot.
Yeah, sounds good. The other thing that's really interesting about this deck is that you are actually playing the Lady and the Tramp 1 and 2 cost characters, because this was like a big debate when I was building the deck initially, like how worth it are they? Because at times like the 1 cost uninkable Lady can feel really detrimental. You've got this 1 cost character which only quests for 1, but you ended up going for it. What was it and how did they perform? Like what was it that made you decide to do so, and how did they perform overall?
To be honest, I kind of hate the little lady. She, like you said, she feels super bad in some scenarios. I can't ink her. I don't want to play her on turn 1, really. It's just not. But I don't know. I kind of like the, how can I say it? Like the Lord synergy.
Definitely.
Lady, it like belongs in the deck somehow. And playing Tramp for 1 can be super good. And Tramp overall was great.
Yep.
Even if I played for 2, it was just incredibly good.
Yeah, I saw like at one point you had many characters down on the board. Like your Tramp gave like +10 or something ridiculous. Like it could have taken out a Chernabog if you so desired.
Yeah, it's just something the opponent has to be aware of. And if they don't, I take a value trade with my Little John or Nala or even Daisy. And then I'm ahead all of a sudden. And Tramp's super great. Lady, I'm kind of not sure.
Yeah. Well, interestingly, I remember like when I played this deck, it was before Hiram Flavisham got banned. And a big reason I liked the Lady and the Tramp was because with a 1 cost Lady and with the Tramp, it opened up some potential for you to trade out a Bell in the early game. But obviously Bell is not as prevalent anymore. So I could definitely see a world where the 1 cost Lady is maybe not quite worth it, because it's great when it's questing for 2. But yeah, maybe just like an extra Merfolk, for example, might have higher results. I'm not so sure, but that's interesting to hear your perspective on it. But speaking of Lady, you've also got the 5 cost Lady in there as well, which was one of the cards I was most excited for with the dual link colors. How did Lady perform? Because there's often a little bit of anti-synergy there with the Chernabog, right? With Chernabog putting all the cards from your discard back into your deck, and then both being uninkable as well.
Yes. And she can be super clunky, 5 cost uninkable in this deck. It can be game losing from time to time, but you can also discard her with Yzma. That's good. You can discard her with Tramp if you think you're not gonna get to 5. But she was super clutch in a few games. Just draw 2, a 4/4 body on the board, quest for 2. It's great. And I even shifted her like 1 or 2 times. And then it makes the little lady a little bit better, because even if she only quests for 1, I can just shift. I lose 1 card in a sense, but I draw 2 more. And I really like her. I thought about playing even 3, but maybe that's a bit too much. I'm not sure, but she was clutch in a few moments.
There's definitely that balancing act, isn't there, with the Lady and with the Chernabog.
And Chernabog, yes.
And that's why Yzma, like I look at Yzma and it just looks like a very underwhelming card, but you just feel like it's crucial to help avoid that clunkiness while also having that high roll potential.
Super important, Yzma. I wasn't sure at first as well if I should play 4 copies, but it's super important. It gets you out of this situation where you just would lose the game because you have 2 uninkables in hand, like Lady or Chernabog or both or whatever. And she just helps you. And she helps dig through the deck in the late game. If you have 2 cards in hand, you can play her, you can discard something bad like a Nala or something and draw something else. And it just feels good.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, well, if it sounds good to you, let's watch back your final. We're probably going to watch it on times 2 speed because it took a while. And I was saying to you just before we started the call, I managed to watch most of this on my phone, but I was boarding my plane at the time, so I haven't got to see the whole thing. But I'm excited to get your perspective on everything. So going into the final, you were the lowest seed. It's open deck list. What's your sort of game plan up against Amber Steelsong?
4 HP 1-drops. Play a lot of them. Play 3 on also play up to 3 on turn 2. That's optimal. Play 1 turn 1, 2 on turn 2, and then flood the board even more. Then play Tramp on the draw, high roll, play Chernabog, and get a win this way. I think if I don't have Chernabog or Tramp, it's super hard to win on the draw against Steelsong.
What's the strategy then with your mulligan? Are you often playing it safe with the deck, not wanting to hit the Chernabogs too early, or is it more of a deck which you take aggressive and risky mulligans with?
It's a good question. If I have 3 1-drops, I go for a more aggressive mulligan with the rest of the cards. But I always keep 3 1-drops and a Tramp if I have one.
Makes sense.
Because that enables the game plan I have anyways. So yeah.
Yeah, and you can already see the power of these like characters with a 4 willpower stat line, really, really good with the Rapunzel as well, right? Like are you often finding yourself not questing with Daisy, or are you just always questing anyway because you're more of an aggro deck?
No, I'm not questing. I did learn. The more games I played, the more I learned the deck as well. I played against such great players that I think I learned a lot in these few games. And not questing early is just better, because I can't really risk losing one character and then my Tramp is costs 1 more, and then it gets awkward, right? So I just like waiting. But I find myself, I watched this back as well, a few at the top 8, top 4, and the final. I watched it back, and I was a bit too hesitant in a few games where I quested too late, and it cost me a game or 2. So it's like you have to find the perfect moment to quest. Yeah, I think this game is, the first game was just I high rolled crazy. So yeah, and he didn't find a song with Ariel here. I think he didn't find one. He didn't have the greatest. He didn't have the shift line as well for Robin Hood.
But you've put yourself in a position, right, with this Ursula sniping the whole new world as well. Like having access to Ursula 2 seems great in this matchup.
Yeah, Ursula is super clutch as well. I always keep Ursula in this matchup as well. Sure. And
is this always your go-to line then, with the triple 1-drop by turn 2?
It can get a little bit awkward because you don't have any cards in hand, and with no or almost no cards in hand, you can't really filter that great with Tramp. Because if you play Tramp and have no cards in hand, then you just discard all the cards. You can find Chernabog. And if you only have 1, you can't do the big turn with the Tramp into Chernabog. You need to have 2 cards in hand after you play the Tramp to do the big blowout combo.
Right, and you've got 1 card in hand here, and I think it's fair to assume that is the Tramp.
Yeah, that should be the Tramp, yeah.
So is this, and we see the aerial shift, is this always then your game plan, like just get as many characters down on the board as you can in the early game, like with the turn 3, the Ursula to snipe the whole new world and another 1-drop, and now suddenly your Tramp is so cheap.
Yeah. This was a crazy turn here, yeah.
And suddenly you draw all these cards, you discard as many as you draw, but obviously that's going to populate your discard potentially with things like Lilo, but also set up the Chernabog in particular.
Yeah, here I drew Chernabog and Tramp. And now I can play another Tramp. And
my goodness.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. I was watching this on the plane and I almost wanted to tap the person next to me and say, look at this.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's no deck that can beat this.
That is absurd. I mean, your previous turn, it looked pretty weak, right? Like you've just got like a bunch of low-cost characters. You've got 1 card in hand, and suddenly this is what's happening. So I guess at this point, you've got no cards in hand though, right? But
no cards in hand, yeah, but doesn't really matter anymore now. The thing is, if Matteo would have like sniped a few, like could have killed 1 or 2 of my characters, this wouldn't happen, right? Because I couldn't play all these Tramps. because I used all my ink there. So if he sniped one character or if he killed it somehow,
right,
then it would be a different story.
but that's where the big willpower comes in as well, right? And suddenly you quest for 7. I know how you quest with everything at once, right? You didn't quest with the daisy and the other things earlier, and so as you mentioned, you just want to keep those characters protected, right, for as long as possible.
Yes. Yeah, and here, it's just over.
It's an incredible turn. Really, really impressive.
Yeah, and these are like the kind of turns or plays I think you have to hit on the draw against Steel Song, or you can't win the best of 3.
Really, really fascinating stuff.
And this wasn't the only time it happened. Like this exact turn happened like 3 or even 4 times in the whole tournament.
Yeah, so while we're watching the rest of this game play out, because it's not going to last much longer, what was the rest of your tournament experience like in terms of your matchups and who you played against and that sort of thing?
I started on Friday with 2 losses.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And it was against Green Steel. Both games, one was discard, one wasn't. And it felt like I couldn't do anything.
So was that like a 0-2s? Because it was 2-game format in Swiss, right?
Yeah, 0-2. Yeah,
wow.
2. And that was like, okay, not going to happen anymore. I'm not going to make Top Cup probably. I'm going to play a little bit more. If I lose more, I'm going to drop and play side events.
Wow.
And then I think the next game was a draw. And then almost only wins. I have the list here. Lose. Then I had a win. Never mind, I had a win, a draw, and then 3 wins in a row, another draw. And then I was at the crucial point where I needed to win the next game. A tie wouldn't make it, and a lose definitely not. So I did have to win the 9th game, the last one on day 1, and I somehow did.
Pulled it off.
It was crazy. Yeah. After the 2 losses, I don't know. It felt completely surreal. Yeah.
But that's like I think that's a really, really good story to tell people that like even if you get off to a bad start in the tournament, to just keep your head up. Like you just play each game as it comes, right? You could have easily dropped your head and.
Yeah. Surely.
I think like it's a weakness of mine personally. Like if I start off badly, like I get in my own head a bit and I start like maybe playing sloppily and then it just kind of spirals out of control. But clearly you had the right mindset to just take each game at a time and do your best that you could.
Exactly. I think it also helped that I wasn't even sure if I could play the tournament, and I was so happy that I can play at all. So I didn't even care if I lose that much. I was like, okay, I can play in the tournament. That's the only thing that matters. And then after a few wins, and especially in the top 64, I was like, okay, I would have never dreamed to make it to top 64. Whatever happens. And I won the next game, and then I had the same mindset again. Like this is more than I could have ever imagined. And it helped me keep a cool head, I think. Yeah.
Awesome.
I was super nervous still, but
And also playing on like the stream table as well. That adds to the pressure a bit as well, I'm sure.
Sure, yes.
So this time we saw
super noise. Yeah, sorry.
We saw the Ursula come through on turn 2 this time instead of on turn 3. What was the decision making there? Did you not have like the triple 1-drop available, or were you just worried about Robin Hood shift?
I think I didn't have the triple 1-drop. Yeah.
There is the Robin Hood. But obviously you've got good intel on what could be in hand. But does this Ursula on 2 slow you down a lot because you don't have...
Yeah, it slows you down super, very much, yeah.
And that's because the more characters you have on the board, the cheaper the Tramp is, right?
Yes.
And also the cheaper the Tramp is, like the more cards you get to discard, and then for the cheaper the Chernabog is also, right?
Yes, exactly.
So the kit comes through, that feels really good.
Yeah, this line can be good as well. Because when I do it like this, like 1, 2, 3 drop, I just have more cards in hand. I have like more, I can get to 5 ink easily when I play 1, 2, 3 and not 1 and 2 1-drops.
And we do see you quest with the Little John on this occasion.
Yeah.
Ariel's going to come through.
I didn't have Tramp in hand, and
It's another miss.
I'm not sure if that is right to quest there, but
sure.
Yeah.
But every law does matter, right? So if you can take an opportunity to get it, you find the Chernabog.
Right
but no tramp as you mentioned. So what's like with no tramp? Like, what's your game plan then? Well,
finding him.
Yeah, okay.
or just build a really big board. If I have Chernabog in hand already, really big board, quest, hope he takes out some characters, but not all, and then play Chernabog and win off that.
Mm-hmm. Another aerial. This one's not going to miss because there's a whole new world available. But playing whole new world into you doesn't sound ideal because you have so many one drops, right? It's going to provide you potentially with an opportunity to go very wide.
Yes, I mean, playing whole new world against my deck is then you just lose the game. But if you sing it, like his deck has so many tools as well. Then if he has all the ink available after the sing, he can just clear my whole board with all the other songs, all the stuff. And he has such a great potential to go wide as well with his deck. With characters that are super annoying against me, like Lawrence is super annoying because he deals 4 damage, he kills my 0/4s, and he keeps his attack. So that card is super annoying against my deck.
Yeah, so Chernabog now in your discard, but that's obviously if you find more Chernabogs, going to make all of your cards be reduced in cost. And we see a pretty wide board now with 2 aerials of Robin Hood, a Daisy, and a big Robin Hood for Matteo. But now you've got 7 fresh new cards and you've drawn 1 for turn. So it's about to get a bit crazy.
Yeah.
To put it mildly. And you were saying before about like the atmosphere on stage with like the headphones. So
yeah, it helps because the headphones cancel pretty much all the noise. So you're just super locked in. It's just you, your opponent, and the board,
and the judge.
It helps. And the judge, you hear the judges as well.
Yeah, so triple Daisy and a Lady for 4 ink. That's not too bad. Piglet into the inkwell, and you've got 1 ink left. Like, what's your strategy here? What are you trying to achieve as you pass on over?
Yeah, I think I should have quested here, in my opinion. I should have quested here with the 4 characters up there.
Interesting.
Doesn't really make sense to pass there.
But your logic here is you're probably going to try and quest with everything all at once, right?
Yeah, but now this is like the turn where he also develops board, I think, and he gets to quest a little bit, and then I'm just on the back foot. If I quest here, he has to trade. He can't do all the stuff he wants to do.
Sure.
Yeah, I should have quested there for sure.
Interesting. But I guess you're like worried about the Robin Hood, right? Like the Robin Hood's able to challenge and gain law. That's probably putting you off a bit. But I've been in similar positions where I don't want to quest against Amber Steel, but then you just let them do their thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. And if I quest, then he has to react to my board, and he can't just follow his own game plan, right?
Like, this is just an absurd board state on both sides. Yeah. The whole new world, obviously.
It's going to get even crazier after next turn,
It is absolutely obscene. So Matteo's now got a 9 law lead. You're at 1. But your whole board is questing for an awful lot. Obviously, that Lady currently only questing for 1. But if you can get a tramp down on the board, it's going to quest for less. You've got a ton of cards in your discard because of the whole new worlds. You've got a ton of characters on the board, so the tramp would be really cheap. So here, if you can find like some tramps and some Chernabogs off the whole new world, you could be in a really good position. And obviously, if you find a tramp, the tramp's going to let you dig even further to maybe find the Chernabog, right?
Yeah, if I had the tramp here, I think I would have probably won the game. But yeah, we'll see.
And obviously, when you've got this many cards and this much going on the board, it becomes very, very complex because you've also not only got to think about what you're doing, but you've also got to be thinking about how much can my opponent quest for. And with so many characters on the board, the maths becomes a lot more complex, as we're going to see Matteo particularly struggle with that in a turn or two, which I'm interested in hearing your perspective on. But here comes a tramp, and suddenly your little John just takes out a Robin Hood, no problem at all, and sticks on the board. Like, amazing synergy there. And this tramp costs you just 1 as well because you had a Lady on the board.
And here I have to take out 2 characters, I think, to get so he doesn't win. Then he gets to 19, which is also bad because he can shift another Robin Hood, and I just lose. But I thought about, okay, I can't win if I don't start questing myself.
Right.
So I just put him to 19 and hope for the best. Yeah.
Makes sense. And I guess then questing with the daisies, you don't want to do that, even though they quest for 2, because they give your opponent more characters and maybe more opportunities to hit the Robin Hood.
Yes, and they have 1 attack, so.
Oh my
they survive.
goodness!
Yeah.
Just like that.
5 1-drops in 1 turn there.
We need a bigger board.
Yeah.
Incredible. Like, haven't seen many board states this insane in Disney Lorcana history. So to see it happening in the grand final was really, really awesome. Very, very cool. And not easy to manage for either of you, but it gets a lot more crazy. And I'm definitely interested in hearing what was going on in your head in the next turn. So it's going to be Matteo's turn shortly. And things start getting a little bit out of hand in this turn while some of the maths is going on.
Yeah. I mean, I really have to say Matteo played so well. He's such a great player. And I had the easier job because he had to count now everything and trade and remove my stuff. I'm just here questing, right? Yeah. So really shout out to him. He played really well.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was an insane turn. Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching this on the plane, and I was actually in chat messing about a bit as well. Like at one point he puts like the daisy onto your side of the board. I was like, oh, daisy's changed sides.
Yeah. It was wild, yeah.
So in this position, like what is it that's making the decision so difficult for Matteo? As we see him sort of like lining some things up. This is something I've seen Zansayed do as well, actually. But when there's so many characters on the board, it becomes a lot more tricky to do that, right?
Yeah, I mean, he just tries to make me not win, of course, and still to get lethal himself, right?
Yep. So he's trying to ensure that in a similar way, like you put him to 19 lore if you quest over everything. He's trying to do something similar, right? He's trying to make sure that you can't quest to 20 while gaining as much lore themselves.
Yeah. But the thing is
there's Daisy.
He also has a harder time because I have 2 ladies, so he needs to take out the tramp because that's more lore. That's like the tramp represents free lore.
Oh, now customer folks on the other side of the board. Yeah, so I think like Matteo, like I can definitely appreciate what they're trying to do here, that they're just trying to line everything up. I think on reflection, probably, there might need to be some sort of rule where you can't put your cards onto the opponent's side of the board and you shouldn't be exerting characters if they're not doing anything. Like I totally can sympathize with him, but it got really messy, didn't it?
Yeah.
But it just...
at some point, I didn't even realize which are mine cards, what is even happening. Then I was just sitting there. I was hoping the judges see it. After the game, it was funny. A judge came to me and he said during this turn, there were like 8 or 9 judges watching on the monitors.
Wow.
To figure out if everything is going down correctly.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see Aaron, the head judge there, someone I know quite well, so a big shout out to him. But I think this is a good, like, we've never really had a situation like this in Lorcana before where you've got this many characters on the board. And I think it probably just sets a good precedent moving forward that, while you can line things up and stuff, like I don't think you should be able to be like exerting characters. Because also from a viewer perspective, this is not, I cannot follow this whatsoever, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously, fair play to Matteo. Like they're just doing what they can. Like it's definitely really tricky to try and make all these trades. If you're just trying to plan ahead, like obviously you're not allowed to take notes. I think at one point they were taking notes, right?
Yeah. But then this was a little bit too much for me then, and then I said
definitely, as you should.
That's not allowed, and the judge then also ruled.
No, absolutely, as you should. So Matteo's like trying to do everything he can to visualize it, and it's really, really complicated, and fair play to them because I think that they got it spot on in the end, right?
Yes. I mean, it took a while, but he played it so well.
Yeah, and ultimately the finals are untimed as well. You don't have that time limit like you're used to in normal games, like at your locals and things like that. It is an untimed final, and also because you're playing an aggro deck, these games can be over really, really quickly. So taking your time on a turn like this is absolutely like Matteo's right, and fair play to them. They made some incredible plays here. It's quite hard to follow exactly what they did, if I'm being honest, but it worked out for them.
Yeah. At some point, I was just there. Okay, I'm just waiting now. it will all resolve, and then on my turn I will concentrate again and look what I can do.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I mean, I still looked at everything goes down correctly, but I also trusted the judges.
Yeah. And while we're watching this happen, what was your overall impression of the tournament? Obviously, Ravensburg hosting one. It wasn't an official DLC, but it was as close as we've really got to one recently. Was it a good event overall? I wasn't able to be there, unfortunately, but
yeah, it was an amazing event. Yeah, the city is beautiful.
I've heard.
The people were super nice. It was my first big tournament.
Oh wow!
And the people were so nice to me. I came there with my roommate and some other friends from Zurich, from where I live, where I play from at the locals.
In Switzerland, right?
In Switzerland, yes. It was such an amazing experience.
That's awesome.
I mean, it was one of the greatest days, 2 days in a long time. Yeah, it was super cool.
And what's your history with Disney Lorcana? When did you start playing, and did you play any other trading card games beforehand?
As a kid, I played a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh! In school. We didn't even know the rules.
Yeah, sounds like me.
A little bit of Magic, and then I played a lot of Hearthstone, just ladder online, and started Lorcana when Set 2 came out, I think.
Okay, awesome.
Then I learned the game, played the game, didn't have many cards, not the expensive one, didn't order any cards and stuff. And then I stopped playing at around when Set 5 came out, didn't play for 5 and 6, and now started again with 7. And now also started to order cards to put a little bit more thought into it, and play a little bit more regularly than before.
Amazing. So it is now finally back to your turn. And remember, everyone, this is in ×2 speed.
Yeah.
This is a stressful game.
10 minutes or something, yeah.
So what's going on in your head at this moment in time? What are you trying to achieve here? Because you can't quest to victory, and you've got to stop your opponent questing for victory, right?
I realized I lost here. I was pretty sure I lost here.
Was there any outs that you would have here? Would a Cri-Kee save you, for example?
Yeah, Cri-Kee would have probably won me the game. Another Tramp would be free, so I could find Cri-Kee. Tramp or Cri-Kee would have been the things I needed, yeah, for sure. I think with Tramp or Cri-Kee, I would have probably won the game, yeah.
So even though earlier you said you need to high roll really to beat Amber Steele's songs on the play, here you really didn't, but you're still very much in contention, right? You weren't a million miles away from being able to take it.
Yeah, true.
So I think that's so impressive.
But I made crucial mistakes in this game as well. I didn't quest when I should have.
Okay.
A few turns ago. Yeah.
Do you think there's any other mistakes you made in this game?
Probably.
But isn't that brilliant that you can look back on these games and see that there was things you could have done differently? I think that's what I love about card games, that a lot of it does come down to draws and luck. If, for example, off the whole new world, if you hit some Tramps and some Chernabogs or some Cri-Kees, it might have gone in your favor. But even then, you're still reflecting and you're not thinking about that as the reason you lost, but some things you could have done differently. And I think that's what makes card games such a special thing to play competitively.
You always have more influence on the game than people think. Card games, I think. Yeah.
So at this point, you're probably not going to be able to deal with his board, and he's just got too much of a wide board.
Yeah. I think I can set him to 19 here again, but it's just not.
So what I think we'll do is I think we're going to fast forward then and go into game 3. So let's see if we can find it here. But yeah, it ends up being Matteo kind of still with these crazy wide boards, but Matteo's just got the upper hand. You're forced to be challenging every turn, and he's just able to close it out. But it was still definitely a close one. I think he got you to 19 at one point, but obviously you just had to take challenges instead of taking that quest to 19. But we go into the third and final game, and for the first time in the final, you're going to be going first. Are you feeling confident?
Yes. Going first is... At this point, when I started playing on Saturday, I wasn't confident even going first because I didn't really play it enough, I think, to really know the strengths of my deck and know what it can do. But at this point, I'm super comfortable going first.
Isn't that fascinating?
Yeah. These games I played on Saturday and Sunday really like made me confident in the deck and in how to play it.
It reminds me of Frank Carsten when Frank Carsten won in Lille. He said something very similar. Like he just said that, I think I was learning a lot on the job, but I think the best practice that you can get for a tournament is the tournament itself at times, right? If you have like at least enough to get through the early rounds and you just keep improving as the tournament goes on. And I mean, you started off 4 losses in a row, right? 0-4 game record, and then suddenly you win the whole tournament. Like, what a turnaround that is.
Yeah, it's unreal. It doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even make sense. Yeah.
So I didn't catch your mulligan in this one. Do you remember how many cards you mulliganed and what your overall like strategy is going in with the mulligan here?
I can't really remember. Probably kept daisies, kept 1-drops that I can play 3 1-drops. Kept Ursula. I think I had Ursula here, yeah.
Yeah.
I had such a great hand here as well, I think. I had Ursula, I had good 1-drops. I was kind of confident at this point already.
Yeah, and we see the Cinderella come down. And Cinderella's such a good card against aggro decks, but when almost all of your 1-drops have huge willpower, it's really not as much of a threat, is it?
Yeah, I don't really care that much anymore about Cinderella with this deck. Yeah,
which is really unique for an aggro deck. Usually Cinderella is like your worst nightmare as an aggro player.
Yeah, I mean it gets a little bit nightmarish when they have a few more characters and they can cost strength with Cinderella. But otherwise, on turn 1 Cinderella, I really don't care about. Yeah, look, this is just a great start. And here I know I can quest because what can he do? He can sing to deal 2 damage the most, and
And this is a bit different. Like if you were going second, maybe you wouldn't want to take this quest, do you think? Or like in this board state, he obviously doesn't have enough characters to deal with your daisy.
Yeah, probably would still quest. Because there's nothing he can do to kill the daisy, even if I would go second. Yeah.
And this is like a big skill in Lorcana, just making sure you get all the lore that you can, right? Like if you're playing against like an Amethyst deck and they're going to 3 ink, you need to be wary of the Fox. But here you know that in their deck, obviously it's open list as well. But in Amber Steel, there's no rush character that can come through on turn 2 to punish this quest. So you should just be taking it.
And especially in this deck, it's super important to get the maximum amount of lore you can get because it comes down to 2-3 lore so many times. Right?
So now you're going into your 3rd turn. You've got that triple 1-drop. What's your main line then that you're looking for with that Robin Hood that's down?
Ursula's coming down now, I think. I'm not sure anymore.
Yeah. And is that just to try and deny like the Robin Hood shift into Whole New World? I mean, maybe you wouldn't even mind that much.
It's just get rid of songs, get rid of Whole New Worlds, whatever.
Yeah.
And so look at his hand.
2 strengths and a Whole New World. Are you worried? There's no Whole New World threat immediately because of Robin Hood, so you prioritize the strength. Obviously, Cindy's can both sing strength, right?
Yeah, and if he sings Whole New World, I'm so far ahead on board already. At this point, I think just get the strengths away so we can't deal with my board and I'm so ahead. I can just quest away.
Yeah, you can really see the Ursula value as Kit goes into the ink, and you're going to use that ink on a lady who is a little bit more vulnerable to things like Storm.
Yeah.
But strength, Storm to the bottom and Robin Hood into hand.
Yeah, that was such a great hit as well for me.
Definitely. Yeah, that's the beautiful thing about Daisy. Sometimes it's a downside, but in this case...
Yeah, it was super great.
She did the business.
I also had a game against someone, I think it was the first game in top 64. He played only 1 Be Prepared in his deck, and I discarded it with Daisy.
Wow.
And he wasn't very happy then.
I can imagine. We see, and then along came Zeus, hit off the area, like a strength off area would have felt a lot better there, because the Cindy's could sing both.
Yeah.
But you're already at 7 lore, so Matteo really needs to just remove every threat they possibly can. So that Ursula was so clutch, getting rid of that strength.
Super important. And now I think I have another Ursula in my hand, but I ink it here because I see he only has a whole new world, I think. And I don't really care if he sings Whole New World at this point. So
We saw them put Zeus into hand with the aerial, I think, right? I might be mistaken there.
No,
I think you probably know best in this case, so...
No, I don't. It's all a blur.
Yeah.
It's all a little bit of a blur still.
But we see the Tramp come through. This costs you...
Yeah,
Did it cost you anything here? So you've got 4 characters on the board.
Yeah. Cost me 3.
Cost you 3, but then it's going to allow you to populate your discard and you hit the Chernabog. So what times, like, can you take Chernabog here, or is it something that you have to discard it?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I have another one in my hand, but if with no cards in my discard, yeah, it's hard. It depends on how much cards you can discard. If you can discard 6 cards immediately, then it costs 4. Then you can put it in your hand, I think, at this point.
Got ya.
But yeah, playing Chernabog for 4 is good, but it's not the greatest.
Sounds pretty good, but yeah, it can be cheaper, right, in your deck. That's the power of it. And this lady quested for 2 here as well.
Yes.
But yeah, you can also see the potential clunkiness of the lady, right? Like if you didn't hit the Tramp, this lady would have been an uninkable, which you're forced to play, but would just be kind of sat there only questing for 1 and not doing enough.
Yes.
But of course, Tramp is one of your key cards. So when it's going well, the lady really doubles down on that.
And she's just a cute card.
That's true. So. I love that.
I can't cut it.
It's Lady and the Tramp, right? She's got to be in there.
Yeah, sure. It would be so cool if the big Tramp card, they're both on the picture there, right? Lady and Tramp. If it would be like a dual card.
Yes.
Lady and Tramp, you know what I mean?
True.
So, yeah, you had the lady on board as well if you had the Tramp on board for other synergies. Cool.
I think that might be a card design we see in the future. I wouldn't be too surprised.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
And I think this deck also just highlights the beauty of the dual ink cards, right? Like that we had in this set. We saw Amber Steel discard decks also doing pretty well this weekend, but you've got 2 very different deck styles, which have really been pushed by the dual ink colors. Like, is this something that you also have enjoyed?
Yes, I think it's cool that the deck can function this well with 2 dual ink cards. Not all the dual cards were super exciting, in my opinion, but yeah, that they are dual ink cards and they're from like the same franchise.
Yep.
They have like lore synergy as well, and it works in the deck. So yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I really like it too. And there we see the Chernabog come down.
Coming down, yeah.
How much did that one cost? 2?
That one cost 2, yes.
Not bad.
And I have another 1-drop in hand here, so it's basically I can play the other one as well.
And that's the great thing about Tramp, right? Like you just have so much agency over exactly what you have in hand. So you're not even inking to go to 4 here, but you've got a 7-cost character and a 10-cost character down on the board.
It's so crazy. I'm at 3 lore, 3 ink, and yeah.
And of course, every card that's in your Inkwell is 1 card less in hand. So you're really, really maximizing the amount of threats you have on the board. And suddenly you're 4 lore away from victory with a Chernabog down on the board and a Nala that's ready. So Matteo has to...
Tramp has 6 willpower still, right?
Absolutely. So do you think there's any matchups that are particularly bad for this deck? You mentioned Emerald Steel is something you struggled against in the early rounds.
I mean, I haven't played enough against it, but the first 2 games felt like super hard.
Yeah.
Almost unwinnable. But I also wasn't in the zone, you could say. Because it was the first 2 games. I didn't really... I mean, I knew my deck, but I learned so much from playing it more and more on these 2 days. But yeah, I think this Steel as a whole is just hard. Yeah. But
I'm so impressed though that you were able to take down Amber Steel consistently, because I think you played it a couple of times in the top 64, if I'm not mistaken.
I played it 2 times, I think.
Yeah.
2 times. And the first one I had I could start because he was lower seeded than me. So, and the first game was just a big blowout with Tramp and Chernabog and stuff. He couldn't do anything. And the second game, he bricked so hard. So I got to win this somehow then. Yeah. And here I made a mistake. I couldn't really think straight anymore at this point. I thought it was strength, operation, fire. and put too much damage on it. Yeah. And then I saw it was only Let the Storm Rage On, and I knew it was probably over. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. And who are you celebrating with there? That's so cool.
These are all my Swiss friends from Zurich, from my locals.
Damn, that's awesome.
It was super cool. They were super supportive. I'm not sure if I would have endured the stress and everything if they weren't there. Yeah, it was so great.
Yeah, that's really awesome. What was your prize for winning the whole thing?
A weekend in Disneyland Paris.
Damn!
For 2 people and two cases.
Okay.
Of set 7 cards, a playmat, sleeves. Yeah.
That's awesome. This is my first time seeing this. Like I say, my plane took off just as the game 3 was about to start. So big shout out to your opponent as well, who played super well.
He played super well. Yeah.
I'm assuming they're Italian.
Yes, they're from South Tyrol, so he also speaks German.
Okay, awesome. So some nice prizes there for everybody. Got the Ursula sleeves as well. Did you get a pack of those?
Yes.
Nice.
Also.
Let's go. But the big prize, the trip to Disneyland Paris. That sounds like a lot of fun. Hope you have fun there, mate.
Yeah.
And do you plan on then attending
looking
more?
Forward to it.
Do you plan on attending more Disney Lorcana events in the future then?
Yes. To be honest, I'm a little bit scared as well because on this tournament everything aligned. Like the stars aligned. I was super lucky in many games. I think I played well, but I was also super lucky. My opponents got unlucky sometimes. Not sure if I can replicate it that great, but I mean, I just like playing the game, and I will still play the game. I will go to tournaments still. Yeah,
absolutely.
But I think this was like the highest moment. It was once in a lifetime moment there.
It's definitely what it's all about, though, right? Like you play to have fun, and winning is just the bonus, right? Like it's like you mentioned, you got to sneak into the event, and that's super. You went to go and play sides and just enjoy yourself, and I think that's such a cool story. And yeah, again, big shout out to Card Market, the channel sponsor. You can see Tramp, Chernabog, Lady, Cri-Kee, all in some of the top sellers, which is no surprise, and I imagine that might continue to increase as we head on into the set championships season. So is there any closing words for you? Thank you so much for joining me, first of all, and a huge congratulations. I was so happy to see you do so well with such a cool deck, and it's been really, really awesome getting to pick your brain about the deck and all that sort of stuff. So thanks for your time. But is there any like closing thoughts you've got, like anyone you want to shout out, any advice you've got to people out there who might want to try and play this deck or compete themselves?
I want to give a big shout out to my family, of course, my friends, my roommates, SPZ, the team I'm playing for, and all the great people, the Swiss people who were there with me and supported me and fed me food, and it was great. And for people who want to play the deck, it's not that hard to learn. There are a few key things you have to be aware of, but you can get into it. It's super fun to play. It feels so great playing Chernabog for free or almost free. It's just a good feel deck, in my opinion. Yeah.
Is there any common mistake you think that you would advise people avoiding? Like I can imagine if you take a big greedy mulligan, you can end up in some sticky situations of too many uninkables.
You have to be aware that you can brick pretty hard if you mulligan too aggressively, but you still have to mulligan kind of aggressively to get those 1-drops. And just have patience. You need to have a lot of patience to not quest too early, but also not quest too late. But
you have to pick the moment,
better,
right?
Yeah, better too late than too early.
Sure.
Just don't feel bad about not getting too low with Daisy sometimes.
Yeah, but it is about, like, you said in the previous game how while the Daisy's safe, it's recognizing when can you quest and when are you supposed to hold off. And I think a lot of games will be won or lost in finding the right moment to quest. And I can imagine it's often once you quest of one thing, you're going to quest of a lot of things usually, right? Like a big wide board questing is often the key to success with an aggro deck like this, and finding the right moment to quest is where the games can be won or lost.
Yes, most of the time you quest with everything. Then there can be moments where you try to bait your opponent, quest with 2 things or something like that. But yeah, most of the time you just want to quest with everything when you have a wide board and a big board. That's like the key. Like you want to have a tramp with very much HP or a Chernabog and a few small characters, because that's so hard to deal with. Like no deck can deal with that except for Be Prepared, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's like the key. You want to have big creatures and a lot of small creatures, and then you can start questing, and it's almost impossible for your opponent to remove everything he needs to.
Amazing. And if anyone wants to find more of your Disney Lorcana stuff, I know you made an X account recently. Is there anywhere? So that'll be in the description. Is there anywhere else that people can see more from you for Lorcana?
I got peer pressured into making a Twitter account now. Yes. You can find me there. Can follow me if you want to. Maybe we'll post some updates of the deck, or when I go to another tournament or something. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks again very much for joining us, and big congratulations.
Thanks
and
so
looking
much for
forward to
having me.
seeing you play again in the future.
Thank you so much.
If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe for more. We're going to be watching some more of the games from the Ravensburg tournament up in the upcoming videos. So look out for that. See you.